Hey, Sean here. I wanted to talk about something really important today because I see this absolutely everywhere. And it's almost like no one realizes this. It's something that's like really eating at people. And it's preventing them from getting what they want, primarily. It's ruining their relationships with other people around them. And overall, it's just like really limiting them and keeping them where they are. And this is something which, I realized thankfully very early on, like many years ago. And since I realized it, it's been like absolutely eye-opening, and it's just like very obvious when I see it in other people. And that is the idea of judgments. And maybe you consider yourself not a very judgmental person, but it's really interesting. I'm going to get into this. You'll probably find that that's absolutely wrong, because there are several things in your life, especially with your relationships with other people, where judgments come up all the time, right? So think about yourself, right? Think about yourself, and you go outside right now, and you're walking, let's say, to the gym or to the shops or something, and you see other people on the street. When you see them, what thoughts come to your mind? Do you make judgments about them? Do you see someone who's overweight and you think, oh, that person's overweight, that's bad? Do you see someone who is maybe not wearing like the most fashionable clothes and you think, oh, that person doesn't know how to dress? Or, oh, that person's haircut, not so nice, unlike mine, which is beautiful. Do you have these thoughts? Because if you're having these thoughts, it's really limiting you. And, like I said, like I ran into the mistake for a long time, and it was seriously limiting me. It was limiting me in business. It was limiting me in my personal life. And now that I'm kind of conscious of it and I've started to take away these things in my mind, I've started noticing it in other people as well. And I've noticed that whatever it is that they do reflects in the world around them. So that means when you make a judgment about someone else, it is because it actually prevents you from you yourself having that thing. And that sounds kind of interesting, maybe a little bit woo-woo to some of you, but it's super true, and it's not some magical frequency thing. It's just science, and it's just psychology. What you see as a bad thing in someone else, you yourself will not pursue subconsciously. For example, if you think it's bad to make money, if you think it's, the only rich people are bad and that they steal money from other people and that's bad, then you yourself won't have money. Why? Because if you think money is inherently bad, then you're not going to seek to pursue that. And then you're going to have a shit life because you're not going to have any money. Another example, like I mentioned before, if you think people who are overweight are like inherently bad or evil or something, then if you were to ever get overweight, let's say you had like a medical condition, you couldn't walk, God forbid, and you gained some weight, you would feel terrible about yourself, right? Instead of just bouncing back and recovering and being normal, you would then hold it on yourself. It would be like this massive limiter for you. And that's what happens when you judge other people. That's why you can't afford to judge other people. And especially for things that are useful, and especially for things that, you need to do in daily life. Like, for example, if you judge people by what they wear, then you will always feel self-conscious when you're out in public based on what you're wearing. I've never been like that. Like, I've never been someone who really cares about style or anything like that. And again, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. But what it is it's very freeing. It means I can go out in my sportswear or whatever, and I don't have to worry about judgment. I honestly don't really give a shit. I did have some judgments. I did judge other people. For example, I used to judge people who I thought were less intelligent than me. I used to think, because I'm apparently, like, according to my own beliefs, that I'm smarter than them, that I'm somehow a better person. But all that did for me, that belief didn't serve me. All that belief did was limit myself so that whenever I was around someone who was smarter than me, I felt inferior. And there's no reason for me to feel that way. Like, intelligence is not a sign of virtue. It's just something you're born with. So it actually makes no sense. It was just a massive limiter for me. And when I realized this, I feel this way around people because that's how I perceive others, I had to then reflect and I had to remove that belief from myself. And now that's something I no longer really care about. Obviously, I notice when, people's intelligence, but I don't judge them right? If they're less intelligent, cool. If they're more, cool. Doesn't really matter. And that's the kind of reflection that you have. But I'm not done there, right? It goes even deeper. If you yourself are bad with something, right? Or if you treat others a certain way, then that is how they will treat you. You can expect the same treatment from yourself. And again, just to make that really tangible, and I don't know why this is, but this is just how it is apparently. If you are someone who is polite, right? If you always say please and thank you, and you hold the doors open for you and for other people, and you're just like a courteous, kind person, then that is, on the whole, that is how people will perceive you. There'll be outliers, of course, but on average, you'll get better responses from people, right? What you give to the world is what you get back, right? And here's a business one for you. This one is massive. When I learned this was like amazing. If you are bad with money, if you don't pay, like, for example, let's say you hire a vendor, right? Like you hire a freelancer or something to do some copywriting for you or whatever it is. If you don't pay that person on time, that's not good. You're not getting anything from that. By not paying that person on time, like if you're doing late payments, all you're doing is you're saying to yourself, it's okay. You're saying to yourself, it's okay to do late payments. And then what happens is when you're expecting payments from other people and they're late on you, you accept it. You accept it as like, oh yeah, that's just something people do sometimes. Whereas myself, I always pay people on time, right? Every single time I pay them on time. And that is like a part of my identity. I will not let it be otherwise. Why? Because I don't accept it when people don't pay me on time, right? Your beliefs have to be consistent and your values have to be consistent. So if you expect something from someone else, you need to start by dishing it out yourself. So if you want people to pay you on time, you need to pay other people on time. And that goes across all areas of life, right? That means if I hire a cleaner for my house, I make sure they're paid on that day. If all I have is a credit card and they want cash, I will go to the ATM, I will get cash, and I will come back home and I will pay them. Why? Because I know how the universe works. I know that if I don't pay that person and I'm like, oh, I'll pay you next week, then this will start to reflect in my business and I'll unconsciously start to program this into my own clients' minds, and then my clients will start not paying me on time, and I will accept that, right? That will not be a standard for me, and I will just accept that, and then it will slowly degrade my life. So this is why, you can't afford to judge people. You can't afford to like put moral judgment on other people, because if you do, then that will be reflected in yourself, right? You will gain insecurities. You will gain all of these thought processes in your mind which prevent you from just being yourself. And you can't afford to do bad by other people, because if you do that, then you can expect other people to do the same for you, and you will not defend against it. You will let it in. It's weird. It's like, I'd consider myself a Christian, but I'm not like super practicing or anything. But when you think about it, this is all just like religious values, which it turns out they're actually all true. Really weird that way. Anyway, I hope this was useful. Pay your debts, pay your bills, stop judging fat people, and or people who are overweight. Don't mean to be mean to any overweight people. Just stop judging people. And when you do, and you just start living as a good person who means well by others, it's funny how the world just starts to work out for you. So yeah, give opportunities to others, help others, treat others as you would have them treat you, and life suddenly becomes quite easy.